From Studio A at the USC Annenberg School, I'm Lauren Marola, joined alongside a USC alumni and ABC7 sports reporter, Ashley Brewer. Ashley, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Of course, anytime I can come to USC, I can pretend like I'm 22 again, I'll do it. I'm happy to be here.
So sports are a huge part of your life.
Yeah, always
and
have been.
you've played them, you swam competitively here, and you actually made it to the 2012 Olympic trials.
Yeah.
Explain what happened there.
Oh my gosh, well, that to me was really the pinnacle and kind of a dream come true. That was always when I was swimming. I always wanted to be an Olympic gold medalist. I didn't quite make it there, so basically the Olympic trials are the top two in each event make the Olympic team. And I was a little off. I think I was in the 50s range or whatever, but just to be swimming, it was in Omaha, Nebraska. The College World Series were happening at the same time, so it was just a packed town, everyone there for their championships, and just an unbelievable experience, kind of a dream come true. And to swim next to like my heroes like Natalie Coughlin, Missy Franklin, who was a friend of mine, and then Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte, all these like the top of the sport were there, and they're all fighting to make the Olympic team. You're there swimming in the biggest race of your life. So first to qualify was unbelievable, but then just to be there among the best swimmers in the world was a really cool experience. And then when it was done, I was like, oh my God, like I need to chill. Like I went to the beach and like didn't do anything for like a week, and then I got back into swimming. But it was nice to take a little break, and it was scary.
Do you think that influenced your career here at USC in any way?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that was, I would say, the sophomore summer. That's when I swam in Olympic trials. And to be honest, like a lot of my career kind of led up to that point. And then afterwards, I could finally relax after that. And so I had a lot more confidence in myself, I would say, after the Olympic trials, because I'm like, okay, there will be no greater pressure than something like that. And that was such a big meet, and there were lights and TVs. It was just crazy. And so then I kind of got to enjoy USC after that, and I could kind of lay back and have fun with my teammates and really had the great team experience here. So to me, that was what it was all about, was having the USC team experience. But
Yeah.
it was really fun.
You speak of pressure. There's also a lot of pressure in the broadcast industry.
Yeah.
And at the age of 24, you made your way to the #2 market.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
I know, I feel bad. Everyone always asks me, they're like, what's the secret? What's the like, what do you do? Do you have like a secret potion or something you did? I'm like, I was, first of all, just so blessed, and I'm a person of faith, and I truly believe this was God's plan for me, and I was so fortunate to have this happen to me. It is never something I dreamed of. It's not what I thought I would be doing. I always loved sports and I loved music, so I thought I'd be working some way in it, but television to me was never my dream. But I love sports. I knew sports. I had such a great sports knowledge, and so I think it came at my senior year. Me and my mom were talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never had a job. I've never had an internship. And so I started working and as an intern at ABC7, and it just was so natural to me. It just came, I went in front of a camera and I just started talking, and it felt easy, and it just felt free to me. And so I just started doing it every day. I got my first job in Tucson. After 2 years, one of the producers called me back that I interned for and said, hey, we have an opening. Would you want to come audition? And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure in TV, but I always say I learned that in swimming. Like I said, there's no more pressure, I think, than standing behind a starting block at the 2012 Olympic trials. And so now, like, I get in front of a crowd of however many people, I feel like I can do anything just because of what I've dealt with in the past. But I told people, just study, prepare, work hard, use your God-given talents. For me, I was born into a family of athletes, so I was lucky enough to grow up around it and learn it really early. And so I think a lot of it comes from experience, but I think a lot of it is taking advantage of what's put in front of you and just going for it and not having fear and just doing it.
You mentioned your mom, who was a successful newscaster back in the 80s.
Yeah.
How has she impacted your career?
A ton. Oh my gosh. Sometimes, I mean, she watches every single show. So sometimes after my show, I'll like be like, I know that text is coming. She's telling me something I did or didn't do. She loves watching me. She's also my biggest critic. She loves to critique my sportscast, what I'm wearing, my inflection of how I'm saying something, the way I said something. And so it's good to have her. She's almost what I call like my broadcasting coach, because now at this level at ABC7, you don't get a ton of feedback because, I mean, everyone here has pretty much made it. Everyone assumes like you're good enough to be here. You know, you learn as you go. But everyone really, especially my coworkers who have been there for so long, they're incredible. They're the top of the business, and so I'm still here, like trying to continue to learn and grow. And so my mom is that person for me. She's always telling me what I didn't do, and then my dad's like the nicest person ever, and he's always like, "You're amazing. You're perfect. You're great." I'm like, so it's a good balance. But yeah, I look up to her in so many ways, and she actually gave up her career to have a family and have 5 children, and so I think now that I'm going to be 28 this week actually, but as I'm getting older, I talk to her about things like when you were 28 and you got married or you had children, how did you deal with this, and this? And so as I'm starting to be a mature woman, I'm starting to look to her for certain advice and things that when I was 22, I was like, oh, who cares? Like, you know, but it's just things you kind of learn as your career grows, which is cool.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Big 28 coming up. Yeah. It
That's
goes
a
by so
milestone.
fast.
Oh
So
my
enjoy
goodness.
USC because I'm like, I was driving in here. I was like, can I go back to school? I love school. It's awesome.
School is a great place.
It's
It is a
fun,
great place.
yeah.
But do you ever feel like you're living in your mom's shadow?
No, never. And my mom worked in Phoenix for 8 years. And she has always been so encouraging and rooting for me in a way that she's like, oh my gosh, you're better than I am. So she's never made me feel like less than her or I had to be like her. At the beginning of my career, she wanted me to go into news. And I was like, first of all, I don't think I'm serious enough to do hard news. Second, I just love sports too much. It's who I am. It's what I know. It's what I've studied my whole life, watching my brothers play baseball and football. It's just who I am. And being an athlete, it's who I am. So, no, I think we luckily did 2 different things. If I had been a newscaster, maybe it would have been different. But no, she's always been so encouraging. And even though she's hard on me, she definitely has made me feel like I've accomplished a lot on my own.
Well, it's kind of hard to be a sports reporter, let alone being a female in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time you felt like you really had to push through, or you considered, not pushing through anymore in the sports industry?
Every day, I think it's a challenge. I think people will discount you for who you are, your age, the age to me was more of a factor than being a female. I think when I got here in LA, I got here at 24 years old. When I would ask questions in press conferences or in media scrums, I've always been super confident. I've never struggled with those issues. So I would say and ask anything that came up in my brain. But I think a lot of other people weren't used to someone so young coming in and trying to make noise in a business or just do their job. And so yeah, I have always felt that, okay, I'm a younger female. I'm almost 6 feet tall. I have bright blonde hair. I do stand out a little bit. And I think that has been uncomfortable for some people. But I think as long as you come in with kindness, professionalism, you dress a certain way, you respect your elders and those around you, you respect the athletes and the coaches you work with, and carry yourself in a professional manner, how much can people really say? And I've learned that not everyone will love you. You're not everyone's cup of tea. It's fine. I've had people even tweet me, I don't like female sportscasters. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand how you could decide that. I mean, everyone is different and everyone has different talents and knowledge, but there are some people who might just not like women talking about football, and that's a personal problem. That's not our problem, right? So I think you come in, you do the best you can, you find the things you're good at, like we talked about. There's certain areas you want to be in someday, there's certain areas that I love to be in. You just kind of find your way and have fun, and who cares what people think.
What would you tell an aspiring Ashley Brewer?
I remember specifically, I always tell this story. I remember when I was an intern at ABC7, calling my mom on the phone and saying, all these other girls that are interning here are so much further ahead than I am. They all have their reels done. They're all so professional and polished. They're in the journalism school. I wasn't. I was just an athlete. I was a sociology major. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I remember calling my mom in the parking lot of ABC sobbing, like crying, just being like, I'm never going to have a career. I'm never going to work. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm so lost. It was my senior year, which is when every kid panics. But my mom then, she's been amazing, really talked me down and was like, 1, trust in your faith. You will be where you're meant to be. But 2, go into that internship every day and just do what you know best. do what you're able to do. Ask those questions that you think are correct. Do everything and kind of have tunnel vision, and just go for what's in front of you, and don't worry about who's here and who's on the side and who's saying this over there and what the other interns are doing on the side. If you have tunnel vision and you go for what's in front of you, you do the best you can every day, you focus, you get rid of a lot of distractions in your life. I really have sacrificed a lot, and I know some people it doesn't seem that way when you look at Instagram and you look at the glamour and how great it looks to be a broadcaster on TV. You have to sacrifice a lot, and you have to choose that, okay, I'm going to dedicate my life to this work. And I really think if you just do the work that's in front of you, have a good attitude and be kind and not worry about where you're meant to be down the road or what will happen, things will come together, truly. And they did for me. I ended up getting a job not long after my internship. And then after I had my job in Tucson for a couple of years, I got my dream job in LA. And so now I always look, people always are like, what's next for you? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I live my dream every day. I'm so happy. If something else would come, who knows? We'll see. But how could you not be really just loving life at this point? It's really great. So
Well,
it's
thank
worked
you
out.
for all of this.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks so
Thank
much for taking the
you.
time to come in today.
Thank you for having me.
And from Studio A at the USC Annenberg School, I'm Laura Marola here with Ashley Brewer, signing off.